What we're going to be doing in the workshop today is really focusing on working on your channeling abilities. And then we're also going to be diving into some of the frequency aspects of it. And then we're going to do an actual channeling ritual all together. Um, it's all done separately, but it's fun when you do it as a group because like that collective energy comes through, even though you don't have to share anything if you don't want to. And then we'll jump into some channeled messages about soul gifts and we'll move through it. So just I'll do a quick snapshot of kind of like why I'm here and what I've, been doing and why I even created this lovely workshop. So really it was about 8 years ago, I was really struggling and I was just going through a lot in my personal life and I was really just unhappy. And I didn't really have a reason to be, except for the fact that I realized after a while that I was living a life that I didn't really want to live. And I think, a lot of us can actually relate to that. So I started developing my intuition when I was, pursuing my, energy healing certifications. And kind of through all that, a lot of things kind of unfolded for me, following some of the intuitive nudges that I got. I ended up leaving my career. I ended up having to sever ties with my mom and some of my family members due to really, really toxic and abusive behaviors. I then, started like many of us on like this quest to kind of start over, right? And so that's where a lot of my intuition and developing this work and a lot of this, even though I've taken many courses, a lot of my intuition and my channeling was kind of brought online through working with my guides. And but what happened is when they stepped in, they really, really helped me find a whole new level of life. Like they've helped me navigate really difficult situations. They've helped me work through things and take my power back. And so that's really what this workshop's about is remembering and taking that power back within yourself and stepping into those natural abilities that you have and allowing that beautiful, authentic self to come out, right? And so channeling is a great way to do this because we can really have like this clear mindset about, or we're going to clear our mindset about channeling, but channeling is extremely helpful for us because it can really show us where we can grow, but also where we are doing amazing, right? So it's very empowering as much as it can be very enlightening. So there's a few things that I want to just share first about channeling. So there are two types of channeling. So we have conscious channeling. That is my preferred method. That is what I have been taught to do. And this is really just a state of consciousness where the person who is channeling is just really very present. They're in their body, they have a personality. It's just like talking to your friend. This type of channeling does require a lot of internal work. So, in order to become a very clear channel, you do have to do a lot of inner work. And so, a lot of people that are drawn to this are probably people who have already been on a very long healing journey because they've already cleared out a lot of their own bias, their ego. They can tell the difference between their ego and their intuition. And then, of course, we have trance channeling. This is very common, and this one is probably what's been promoted the most and is probably the most noted as far. And this is like Bashard as trance channeling or Lee Harris or even Wendy Kennedy. They are more where the person kind of steps aside and the energy that they're channeling kind of just comes through them. So then it brings us to kind of this mindset aspect of like, okay, so what are we channeling? There might even be a little bit of discomfort that comes up because we're like, oh, well, if I don't know what's coming through, that makes me uncomfortable, right? So what we want to focus on is we want to focus on what we do want to channel, right? So where we put our attention is where we want to go. Now, the cool thing about channeling is that you are always in control of the connection. And so there's never a time where you can't say, no, I don't want to do this anymore. And they will absolutely step back. It doesn't matter what type of being or energy you're working with, they will always step back because that is part of it. So you can channel anything really, but a lot of us really want to work with like our spirit team because we want to have that inner guidance. And so our spirit team obviously consists of like light beings. It consists of angels, galactic guides, ascended masters, passed on loved ones, or, and then even our ancestors. And then they really will come through and make themselves known. And it's going to be pretty apparent. They can't actually interfere with your life in any way because they're not allowed, but they are allowed to be like drop you hints. And so if you're willing to see them, they are absolutely willing to connect with you and help you. So the most effective way that I found to really tap into the frequency of your guides is through your heart space. So your heart space has the most pure energy and it's like a portal to your soul. And so that soul energy you have is very much a connection to your guides, ancestors, all of the people on your spirit team, and they're just waiting to work with you. So this is going to be where we're going to start really sitting with some of this energy if you guys are wanting to try it. So I want to really hold this space so we can actually experience it together. And if you have questions, I would love for you to drop them in the chat and let me know. But so what we're going to do is put both of our hands onto our heart space. And I want you to just take one deep breath. We're going to breathe in through your nose. And we're going to exhale out your mouth. So inhale and exhale. All right, now what I want you to do is I really want you to think about something that makes you smile. And it can be something so simple. Just imagine just anything that kind of makes you smile or giggle and kind of have that like, oh, that's, just fun and cute, right? Like even if it's, like a dog's face or whatever it is for you, or your kitty cat, or it's anything. And I just want you to sit here and I want you to hold that space for just a minute. So I want you to hold that happy thought, that happy image, and I want you to feel into your heart space with it. And we're just going to hold it for about 30 more seconds. Perfect. So really being able to cultivate frequency inside of ourselves is really amazing. So a lot of people think about like, oh, we have to be high vibe. So vibration and frequency are actually different. That may not sound normal, but you can still have your emotions, you can still have your human vibration, and you can still connect to different or specific frequencies if you choose. Yes, I do think that having a clear channel requires you to do the emotional work. But that doesn't mean if you're having a bad day that you can't connect to your guides, that you can't connect into your own inner wisdom. What we're doing is we're just literally setting aside. It's like the human and the soul aspect exist at the same time. And that is probably the best way to do it. So it's not like we're pushing one away. We're just allowing them both to exist at the same time. And that is how you hold that access to your guides, even when you're having a bad day. And of course, your guides are probably going to take it easy. They're not going to give you all this information right off the bat because they're going to just be gentle with you, knowing like, hey, this person's not having the best day. It's okay. We're just going to give them the information that they need to kind of help them work through these situations. So with that, I don't know if you guys want to drop in the chat if how that felt for you, kind of sitting with that heart space energy. So now what we're actually going to do is we're going to work with connecting with our guides. Awesome. Okay, good. Thanks, Taylor. Oh, Michelle, I love that. She said she went to her granddad's in Hawaii, or and Hawaii. Oh, grand dogs. Sorry. I love it. Thank you. So now if you guys are all up for it, because I really am like, I'm a practical person. So I like to do like hands-on stuff. So if you guys want to have this process that I thought would be super fun to try with you guys and actually connect with your guides. So what we can do is, since we've kind of already learned how to sit with that heart space energy, now we can really jump into the connection process. And right now, we're going to just ask for signs from them. That is going to be our process and our intention for this session. Because what I really want to do is I want to make sure that you feel comfortable and safe with them. And so building that one step at a time kind of experience is going to be a little bit easier to kind of move forward with it for you. So this is going to be a couple of phases, but part one is, if you guys are ready, we can just sit here. And if anyone doesn't feel like doing this right now, I'll send out the replay and you can follow this on your own if that feels better to you. There's no pressure to do this, but if you want to do it together, I'm just going to walk everyone through it because I think it would be really fun to do and just a very helpful exercise. And then if you have questions, we can go through those. So we've kind of already opened our heart space and tapped into that. And what I want you to do is I want you to bring that heartfelt, like whatever that image or that happy thought was from the heart space that kind of lit you up. I want you to bring that through. And we are going to do a grounding exercise. I'm going to bring just beautiful white, sparkling light down from the top of your head. And you're going to come down into your throat and into your chest and your shoulders and your arms. And it's going to kind of come back down through your heart and into your abdomen. And down into your hips. And then down through your legs. And into your ankles. And then out through your feet. And what we're going to imagine is the beautiful white light kind of connecting to the center of the earth. And what we're going to do is just allow this beautiful white light to continue to flow through us. So what this does is this just maintains the energy and the frequency that we're looking to connect to. And well, you can pick what you want, but I think for now, maybe it would be good, we can just we can set the intention together to just connect with our angelic guides. They're very easy to connect with. They're very light. and very loving and very soft. So they would be perfect if you guys are comfortable with that. We will start to work with them. So, keeping your eyes closed, we're going to do 3 deep breaths this time. We're going to do inhale through your nose and exhale through your mouth. One more time, or a second time. Inhale through your nose and exhale through your mouth. Last time, inhale through your nose and exhale through your mouth. Okay, so now what I want you to imagine is that you are in a beautiful glass box. There's holes in it so you can breathe. It's very easy, but you're just in this beautiful glass box. And you are safe here and you are just held here. And it's full of love and you are just beautiful and safe. And now I want you to imagine that this box, you're still in the box, but you're able to walk down a beautiful pathway. So the box just kind of grows with you. It's just kind of like a grid that protects you. But you are walking down a beautiful path and you're just imagining like a beautiful place, whatever this looks like for you. Whether it's trees or maybe it's on the beach, whatever place makes you the happiest and brings you like joy, peace. And then when you get to the end of the pathway, we are just going to pause for a minute and then you're going to see a big open space. And when you go into this open space, it's going to be the same, like beautiful, peaceful, like somewhere you would go is just like a retreat just for yourself. And you're sitting in your box still that's glass. And I want you to imagine your guides, like the angels stepping forward, if that feels comfortable for you. And I want you to ask them just to show you a sign when they're with you or when you are looking for guidance, how you know that you're kind of on the right path, like a nice affirmation for you. So I'll give you a minute here to sit with that energy and kind of just open yourself up to receiving that information. And however you're receiving this information is okay. Some of you might be receiving it through like seeing images, or maybe you're hearing words, or maybe you're just feeling things inside your body and you're not really sure what that sign would be. Well, those senses can also be little signals that they're with you. So even if you get like a tingling feeling in maybe your heart space, or even like a twinge in your leg, or any of those things, they can still communicate with you, even though it may not be so literal. So we'll stay here for another 30 seconds or so. So now, if you'd like, you can gently come back. And if you have a notepad, or even if you just want to write down in the notes on your phone, any of the signs that kind of came through, or any of the information that you got, and you may have gotten more or less. It's okay. Whatever your experience was just fine. So I'll give you a minute to just record that. And if anybody wants to share in the chat, I of course would love to hear your experiences, but of course there is no pressure. And even if you didn't get anything, that's okay. I would like to hear that too, because we can work through that if anyone is willing, or if anyone had that experience. I like that. Oh, yeah, I love that. That's perfect. Those are actually really specific too, which is great. All right. Yeah, what's your question, Taylor? You can go ahead and unmute yourself if you want, or you can type it.
Yeah. Yeah, I figured it would be easier. So I always struggle because, well, one, when you first were like, we're gonna invite your angelic whatever,
Uh-huh.
I was like sitting and then I don't know, like angels were surrounding me. And I feel like that happens a lot for me in meditation where I'm like in the
Oh,
middle and like my spirit guides or whatever are like surrounding me.
mhm.
And I don't know their names or anything like that. I haven't got that far. But my question is sometimes I'm like, am I just making this up in my head? Not am I just making this up, but like for years I've been like, oh, feathers are a sign from the universe. And then like a few weeks ago, like an 888 thing happened, and I was like, oh, that was a sign. And I'm like, I was making this up. I'm like, is that what came through? Because I already decided that these are signs. Does that make sense?
No, so you're good because those what you got, just to confirm everything, one, you're not making any of the stuff up. So the hard part is like we all think it's just in our head. Well, it kind of is. Like, I mean, we're not connecting to anything here that's real. So it is a little bit hard. You do have to just learn to trust it. But the repetition of those signs are going to make it feel like, okay, yeah. But no, you didn't make that up because the 888 is an angelic number. So they have like their own, that's their code, right? So they speak in numbers typically, because of the energetics behind the numbers. Feathers, of course, are a huge sign that's very well known, and you're not just making that up. And then what was the other specific? You said a certain stone. Do you know what stone it was? Because that's a very specific thing. So that I don't think you're not making that.
Well, this is also why, like, am I making this up? Because
Okay.
I found this stone a few weeks ago, and I'm like, oh, I've never really like seen this stone before, but like that's the stone that I saw through
Ah,
that practice.
okay. So that's a really good sign because that's completely out of the ordinary, right? So they actually showed you something non-typical. Because the angel number and the feathers are fairly like typical signs, but they're saying like, oh, we're sending you signs like that stone that you saw. That's them saying like, yes, we're here too, and that was our signal to you. So whatever stone it was that drew your attention, that's because they wanted you to see it and they were trying to get your attention. So you did perfect, and no, you're not making it up. Because they literally pulled a specific thing out of your life that, I mean, there's no way for you normally your mind would not have put those two things together, right? If you think about it, your brain wouldn't be like, oh, yeah, there's a certain stone. It would pull something more generic than that. It would probably pull, like, oh, I saw a leaf fall the other day or something, but it wouldn't be pull your attention to something that specific, if that makes sense. Does
Yeah,
that
that
help,
makes
or
sense.
does that answer your question?
Yeah, it is, but like my brain's making it.
Yes.
I know, it's fine.
It's okay. The brain, it's the hardest part of this is like keeping your brain from like keeping the logical. You almost have to train your brain to be illogical sometimes, or you almost have to turn it off and just be like, so I guess this is a perfect question for you. So when you think of that stone, do you have any sensations in your body?
Mm, mm, not really, just like calmness.
Okay, so that feeling, that calmness is how they're communicating with you. So some people are more clairsentient. So if you're very body based, which you probably are based off of your profession, um, they may not be such literal signs, like you may not see everything or experience it. You'll probably end up feeling things. So the way things make you feel is a very good sign that there's that connection, because they are going to try to instill that peace and that calmness within you. So that actually is even more confirmation. So next time you see like a symbol like that, try tuning into how it makes you feel or how you feel when you connect with it, instead of trying to think about it logically. Just feel into it with your body, which I know you'll be able to do
Okay.
because you're really, really good with your body anyway, and listening
Yeah,
to it. So,
thank you.
yeah, you're welcome. Okay. So, to just kind of, all right, I want to just look back at the chat. Awesome. Oh, Michelle, I love that. You got the Merkaba again. And then the purple and blue. Oh, and a swordfish. I love that. And then, oh, Ashley, you got throbbing in your chin, tingling. Ooh, a tickle. And you have three guides. Oh, I love that. Thank you so much for sharing. Those are actually really beautiful things. So with these, um, definitely keep note of these, because they're going to be the reoccurring signs that they're with you. And if you have moments where you're like, I don't know what to do, or, I just need some support, lean into it and then see if you feel or experience any of these things again. So thank you everybody for sharing. I really appreciate it. Oh, we're going to do um, the closing energy. Um, ooh, okay. Ashley just put that she didn't really have the ability to visualize, but she could feel the presence of them and their specific. So I must have a lot of clairsentience in here, which is great. I love that because I'm also very clairsentient. And it's probably one thing that's easiest for me to work through, even though it's probably one of the harder clairs to work with, because clairsentience is all about your body and the experiences that you have in there. So I love that you could feel their presence, and it's okay that you didn't see them. It is perfect. It's still 1,000% valid, even though you don't see them, or have like, even if you don't hear words or anything, the experience in your physical body is still extremely helpful. And this is one of, like, I call them like the feminine clairs, actually, because it's like very subtle. And claircognizance is also one of the more subtle clairs. Those two are the ones that you you feel like it's just you, and it's hard to differentiate the difference between you and whatever the thought is or whatever you're feeling. So thank you all for sharing. I really appreciate it. And thank you for sharing that, Ashley. That's beautiful. I love that you could just feel it. So let's do a nice close of the energy. I always like to add a grounding practice back into the end. And it's similar to what we did in the beginning. And what it does is it just really regrounds our energy and brings us back. So, yep, you can go ahead and close your eyes. And we're going to come back to that beautiful white light coming through us. It's going to come down through our head and into our eyes. and then down into shoulders and into our arms, and then follow through down into the chest and your heart space, and down into your upper abdomen, and then into your lower abdomen, and down into your hips, and into your legs, and then down into the earth. And we're just going to let all the white light come all the way down and then dissolve back into the earth. And here I just want you to take one deep breath in through your nose and out through your mouth. Perfect. So you can just open your eyes and you can kind of relax and maybe move your body around a little bit. Right. And now we are going to jump into soul gifts and messages from the Palladians. What I want to do here is just kind of share a little message about soul gifts that the Palladians shared with me. And the Palladians are a very heart centered. They work very closely with the angelic realm, but they are a little bit more in human form. Like they look a lot more like us, even though they're a little bit of a different dimension than we are, but they are just very peaceful and loving. And their intention is really to help us all connect to our heart spaces and connect to each other. Like it is like this says unity consciousness. Like our soul gifts come online when we sit with others that are ready to receive them. So it's funny because a lot of people think that our soul gifts are activated by things outside of us, like, our guides or our angels. And they really wanted me to let you guys know and to let everyone know that all of our soul gifts are activated by our connection with each other. So this sense of community is so important right now. And the more that you step into your beautiful soul gifts, you are going to be really asked to embrace change and to follow your heart space. So, learning how to connect with them and ask for guidance and tap into that higher self aspect through your heart is going to help you drop out of the mind and what you think that you have to do that makes sense. And while, yes, we want critical thinking, it doesn't have to be our guide. Our guide comes from this place. This is our soul. Our soul is our guide. And as we drop into more of who we are as authentic people, the more we show up in our authenticity, the more we are asked to live from this space. And the critical mind becomes secondary. It does not dictate our life. It becomes the support and the help that we need to navigate this world and to really share our gifts in a logical way. But it's not what motivates us. It's not where our ideas come from. Our ideas come from here and our connection to ourselves and to our guides. And your guides are really just other consciousnesses that are part of your oversoul. So I like to think of it as kind of like a cloud, and you have like all the raindrops. Those are all the souls that are connected to that cloud, and that cloud is the oversoul. So you have all the raindrops are your soul, other incarnations of your life, your guides, and so you're all interconnected. And you're all part of the same frequency, which is why it's so easy to connect through your heart space into your guides.